I want to be where the people are.
I want to see.
I want to see them dancing.
Walking around with those. What do you call them?
Feet. It's what's that word again? Come on, if you're going to do this with me.
Shut up.
Here we go. All right, it is Monday. I am here behind the table with the lovely Sara Haines.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you?
I love when you're nice once the podcast starts.
Yes, I have to be.
I know.
So we had a great show today. We've had a lot of really interesting shows. Today, we had former Governor Andrew Cuomo. He came on to discuss his embattled run for New York City mayor.
Yeah.
What do you think? What did you think?
Well, I was interested to have him here because I think the run between Mom Donnie and him really kind of captures the fracture in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because it is between more the progressive left and the more centrist old school Democrats. And so having him here, I thought he did a great job. I mean, it was hard to read the room with everyone, but I thought he answered questions well. I liked hearing about his plans because I don't think you can answer someone running for office with just, you're not going to be that. Kind of like we always say, Democrats can't have anything but Trump mentality. They have to come to the table with an agenda. He shared his agenda and it tracked.
I thought it was really interesting. I mean, he's been such a fixture in our lives as New Yorkers for a long time. And we always have this conversation about whether New York politics is interesting to anybody else. Occasionally we'll have a mayor of New York on the show and Eric Adams and things like this. But with Mamdani and Cuomo, these are national political figures of importance on the left.
And it's because what it's highlighting in the party itself that it's become such a...
Yeah, it's something we've seen before with like Bernie and Joe Biden. I mean, there's always been this progressive centrist kind of thing, but now it just feels like it's bubbling over.
Yeah, because we saw it, honestly, we saw it on the right with the Republicans throughout the Trump era. Like we watched this populist nationalist movement, this MAGA movement kind of competing with the old school conservatives. And so we're seeing it now on the left in a different way, but it's always about kind of the moderate centrists versus the more extremes. Now,
it seems like Cuomo has not done as well with young people in New York City. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think, we talked about how a lot of this last election was about people weren't happy with the status quo and they were looking for Vice President Harris to be different than what we already had. I think right now people are not, especially young people, they're struggling. They can't pay. It's the first generation coming through that won't do better than their parents necessarily.
Right.
And so you have these people that are saddled with debt, oftentimes school debt. They can't get jobs. They can't afford housing. And then someone comes along and has some great ideas, like let's, make public transportation free. Let's freeze rents. And it just sounds too good not to give it a chance. And I think that's why it's resonating with young people. Right. He also is young himself. And at 33, I think
charismatic. And he was a great guest, I thought. Yeah.
Well, and anytime you're an incoming candidate, you are literally grassrooting. You're knocking on doors. We saw what Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. When you are willing to do that work that someone like Governor Cuomo may take for granted, because he not only has been a figurehead here, you come in here and you don't see a Mom Donnie as a threat. He's literally a self-proclaimed Democratic socialist. He's 33. He has no experience at this. I think you skate a little bit. And I think it was probably a little shocking for Governor Cuomo to have to come in and say, oh, wait, let me remember how you do it when you're building up.
Well, it's interesting because Governor Cuomo at one point, very revered by the left, I would say, and nationally. During COVID, despite the fact he preempted us almost every day at 11 o'clock with his press conferences.
Yes.
I think originally we felt like he was doing a great job. But as time went on, there were certain scandals that came out.
Yeah.
We talked about the nursing home scandal. And then you asked Governor Cuomo about the sexual abuse allegations that led him to resigning as governor. He stands by his statement that he believes this was all politically motivated, but he also learned to be very careful about the comments he makes. I thought that was an interesting thing that he addressed. He was almost kind of rolling his eyes a little bit as he was saying it. It's like, I won't make any jokes and I won't do this.
Yeah, which was not the accusation.
No,
to be clear.
It was more serious than that. But what did you think of his answer? And it almost felt like an appeal to people that feel like the culture went too far. It felt like it was a little bit of almost I hate to say, a little on the Trumpian side.
Yeah, it was. But I would also say, and this is not to negate any accusations or pain anyone experienced, I think in addition to learning not to say certain jokes is probably when you've had your feet held to the fire, whatever happened, whether denied or alleged, you learned a lesson that you can't do that,
right?
Whatever it was. And I also think we're living in a different time. The very thing that took President Clinton not down, but the memorable thing was the scandal with Monica Lewinsky.
Right.
If it happened today, I don't even think people would blink an eye. They'd move right along. Like that was a consensual, again, arguing power structures.
Yeah, I was
but what I
mean power
is
dynamics
it wasn't
and
someone
others,
accusing him of doing something to them. You know
Correct.
what I mean? So I think times have changed. It kind of calls into question leadership, morality. Can you lead well and be imperfect and have problems? And again, behavior needs to be called out and held accountable. But we are living in the time of President Trump. And so I just don't know if you can measure one to this and one to that. And, so I was satisfied with what he said.
All right. Well, speaking of holding people accountable for things, I want to talk about something that happened with you last week and Kate McKinnon.
Okay. This was embarrassing.
You had an incredibly awkward moment. Can we show the clip?
Oh, gosh. Well, we grew up on Long Island.
Sorry, that was the funny part.
Can't bring her anywhere.
What's wrong with you?
What happened?
Let me just disclaim this. If you have to explain a joke, it wasn't funny. So we're going to start out with, I totally get.
Yeah. By the way, you don't have to convince anybody watching that wasn't funny, but go ahead.
No, but I need to tell you, I don't think now it was funny. When it happened, I had asked her a question about, do you remember the first impressions you did? And the way she answered, she says, so we grew up in Long Island, but pauses a little bit. So it felt like she was going to say something and I was trying to make a joke like, like that's your answer. Normally, even when my jokes fall, one or two people giggle, or like Regina, who I'm flattered by, will do something.
Who's our warm-up comedian.
There was like, Brian, you got in my ear and you're like, are you okay? Like it was so mortifying but the problem here is, okay, so I didn't win this one at all. Nope. Hard loss. But you have to take risks. There are times you go to say something, and if you think too hard about it, it's like improv.
Right.
If you think too hard, you won't say it. Your timing's gone. You're done. In that moment, I leaned so far into something that failed.
So miserably.
It's so humbling to remind me. Because then I had people asking upstairs, like past me that saw it, like, are you okay? And like, they're not trying to be funny.
You were
They
like
worried
detached
about
from
me.
reality. It was weird.
And it was,
yeah.
it was just, I want to
The funny thing is, like, because I'm like, oh my God, because I love having you in these segments because you are a big laugher and you're a genuine laugher and you laugh at my jokes and you laugh at comedians' jokes. And now I'm like, is she just faking it the whole time?
No,
Was it
but
just
you're
a
missing
fake
the
laugh?
joke. That
No,
was a
I
fake
understand.
laugh.
I understand
that
the
was
joke.
meant to be like,
I understand the concept of what you think was a joke there, but it didn't exist.
but that's the point, is it had
Right.
no, the funny part was it was a laugh that had no home.
Believe me, I've spent a lot of time trying to get my head around this, but
No, I know, because you've trolled me every minute since.
yeah. All right, let's talk about another awkward moment you had. Once every couple of months, there's a guest that appeals to you on a level that staggers everybody else to the point where security has to pass your photo around.
Yeah, it's Bolo. Be on the lookout. The posters are everywhere. It's fine.
It happened for
They're
Mariska
next to
Hargitay.
my headshots for the show I'm on.
Yeah, it happened with Mariska Hargitay. It happened again, and it's never the people you expect. Not that I wouldn't expect Mariska Hargitay, but it happened with
Her documentary was amazing. What can I say?
psychic medium John Edward. I walked into the dressing room to say hello, as I often do, and you were in there. You were sobbing. I mean, you were sobbing.
I went to speak and my voice did that thing where I didn't expect to cry with him. I knew I'd probably cry with Mariska because of knowing the documentary.
Right.
With him, I came in.
Was this the same show? This was the same show.
What?
As Kate McKinnon. You were just unhinged this day.
You know what? Let's blame it on the John Edwards moment. I was
Okay.
very excited to meet him. So what I will say is, let me compare something. So Mariska Hargitay's documentary was just next level. To my core, I felt everything. With John Edwards, it wasn't that it was this moving piece of art. It was the reveal itself.
Yes.
This book traces like 25 years of crime fighting with an FBI agent friend, and it's true stories of how John Edwards was participating. So when I first opened it, it appealed to my true crime in me. Like I was like, oh, this is cool, let's do this. And I'm reading and it's tracing things, it goes through 9/11 and all this stuff. What John Edwards did, it got emotional because it kind of gave me some relief about passing over. And I say that kind of like when Jeremy Renner was here and he was talking about the snowplow and how he wanted to go towards whatever he saw. It was this light, it was this warmth. There are stories in this book that are undeniable. There's not even the deepest skeptic could undo what he says in this book. And there's a softness and a compassion to the fact that the people he's following had crimes against them. They didn't die of a disease. These were people that died in some ways violent ways. And what he discovers spoke to more my spiritual and faith side, actually. So when I went to talk to him, I kind of saw him like I do ministers, priests, rabbis, people of the cloth, I say. There's this light around people that are messengers or vehicles for important spiritual things. John Edwards is that to me. And after reading that book, I had a whole new look at him. And when I saw him, every vulnerability just came out and I crumbled. And then you walked in, you're like, hi, I'd like to. And I was like, why are you coming in here? It was embarrassing, the timing of your intro.
I was giving him a message from Whoopi, his good friend, who was off that day.
Read the room, Brian.
Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect to see you up there. Also, it was like on a floor you had never been to before.
It was like a maze. They hid him from me.
Yeah.
But then, wait, Kim's husband was there. Did you guys hear this?
Kim, one of our producers.
Yeah, one of our producers.
We're talking to 5 people.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I am talking to 5 people. They're over there. But so Billy's in the audience.
Yes.
And right when Kim walks up, she goes, so Billy's out there. I go, oh, did he come for John Edwards? And she started crying almost before she started laughing because she said, that is the single funniest thing you've ever said. And you didn't know because you weren't trying. That's what I mean. I was trying to be funny with my laugh. I failed miserably. I'm just being myself. And Kim thinks I'm the most hilarious person in the world. Do I get credit as a funny person?
So Kim's husband was there because
Eli Manning
we had done a
was
pre-tape
here.
with
Sorry,
Eli
I
Manning
buried
that
the
day.
thing. She was like, no, he's not here for sure.
No, he was here for Eli Manning. Kim's worked here for 30-something years.
Yeah.
And not really, but a very long time.
But
and her
Billy
husband
doesn't come here.
He's never come.
Yeah.
But you thought he came for the first time for John
Edwards.
Edwards.
Knew who was in the building, and it was John Edwards.
All right. Well, listen, no shade to John Edwards. Or John Edward. It was great to meet him and great to have him here. And it was a great segment. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of this stuff, I saw a story about Kristen Wiig having her house ghost busted.
Yeah.
And it made me think about you after this John Edward thing. Would you ever do something like that?
So there are no ghosts in my house. I wish there were, but
do you?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I grew up on like The Conjuring and things that were like.
First of all, The Conjuring came out like 4 years ago. When did someone look up when The Conjuring came out, please?
Okay. The Conjuring, the first one, did not come out 4 years ago.
All right, let me know. Put that in my. iPad
I
here.
believe if you believe in all good things
Yes.
and spiritual things, you have to believe there's bad too.
Yeah.
And so I don't want a bad ghost. I want like a ghost that's like maybe lost in their way to where they're going. And
You want Casper?
Not Casper. That's silly and childish. I want someone who's a little more like, I had a light turn off the other day and I don't think it was a ghost. I think it was someone speaking from the other side to me.
Okay.
Because I was talking about death to the kids and a light bulb went out and I thought, oh, a light bulb. In my head, I was mocking myself. I'm like, oh, a light bulb goes out and I think it's a sign. When I finished the last word of my conversation holding Alec and Sandra, I look up and the light goes back on full. And it was out for like 30 seconds.
All right.
And I don't want them to go anywhere, so I would never ghost bust my house.
Conjuring came out in 2013, so you were in your 30s. I just want to point that out.
I know.
Okay, you grew up on it.
I grew up the last 10 years, a lot of growth.
Okay, well, that's true. I've known you.
A decade.
You've grown a lot.
My kids weren't even here. I was a different human.
Yes.
Not Conjuring. What's the other ones about the in the
Poltergeist?
house?
Poltergeist?
No. They're here.
Amityville
Come on,
Horror?
That's like 83.
Yeah.
No, the ones of where they have the camera in the house and you're
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal. That's what I'm going for.
Give me a
Grew
date
up
on that.
those.
Give me a date on
Paranormal.
that too when you get a chance.
The first one, okay? Because there's like 9 now.
Okay.
Paranormal Activity.
Grew up on them.
Yeah, I did. Would you ever ghost bust your house?
If I saw things, yes, definitely. I'd probably just move. I moved out of the city because my wife saw a mouse. Like, but yes, I would probably leave if there was
a mouse would probably scare me more.
2007 for Paranormal Activity.
Again, grew up on it.
Okay.
It's been years.
Yeah. What year did you graduate college?
2000.
Okay.
7 years later, I had an epiphany.
All right.
No, but I also grew up on Ouija boards.
Yes. Okay.
Are we getting closer to
Yeah,
childhood?
I think
that was
Ouija
a
boards.
slumber party.
Ouija boards existed when you were a child. Yes.
Yes, there's a movie called Ouija board.
Okay.
It was also good. It was an unrecognized piece of work.
Is there actually a movie called Ouija board?
It's called like Witchboard, I think. Yeah. Oh, look at me
Witchboard.
dropping nuggets of wisdom left and right.
How about Teen Witch? That was good.
Oh, Teen Witch.
Yeah. Can you
Your
do the rap?
morning paper.
Oh, nice. I thought you were
Take
going
that.
to take that. Yeah,
Take
yeah,
that.
That's what I was waiting for.
I don't really give a if you want to take that.
Very nice.
I want to be the
Most popular girl. And now you are, Sarah.
Blake Lively's older sister stars in that.
Robin Lively. Also in Karate Kid 3 as the love interest.
Oh.
All right. You and I have been in a debate. Speaking of your tech expertise, you and I are in a debate about children and phones. We're not really debating it because I agree with you that in general,
Good.
social
Conversation
media,
over. Let's move.
social media, phones, things like that are
If they're bad.
They're bad. They're bad.
So bad.
One thing that so my kids are older than yours. My daughters are 14 and 11. And what I've run into is, while I probably agreed with you at the time that I would keep them away as long as possible, and I think I have kept them away as long as possible, and unfortunately that we're there now. As they get into these social situations, it's almost impossible for them to be left behind. How do you feel about this?
I'm really okay with them being left behind.
Mm-hmm.
On the heels of it's easier said than done. I recognize that, but
That's the problem.
Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation.
Yes.
Honestly, the documentary, not the Social Network. What was it was
We're in it. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all the engineers of the Google and everywhere, and they were talking about how they would never let their kids near what they had designed themselves. The point here for me is like, arguably,
Social dilemma.
Social dilemma, which is I would tell people definitely check that out because it's awesome. But we grew up in a time where we battle our own addictions to screens, but we know a life before they were there.
Right.
Kids are now in too deep unknowingly. Like we know when we catch ourselves, oh, it's this. They have no contrast. And I think the problem is we're asking questions about all these people who have been, I'm talking extremes, like radicalized online. And it's a lot of a generation of people that have spent their life in front of a screen.
It's debilitating. It's really tough.
And it's designed to be a heroine to a grown adult. Like, and to know that the kids are victims of an algorithm, and I don't trust them. So like when you say things like they're parental blocks or parental thing, I'm like, the same people who designed the heroine just said, don't worry, we've got a safer version. I don't trust you. So I've been working a lot. Max and I have this conversation. We just had it this weekend, actually. We are fighting this as long as we can. Social media, the youngest I will have that conversation with them is 16 or after that. The phones we will fight for a long time if we can. They're going to want one eventually, but the amount of...
Do they have tablets at all or anything now? Nothing.
No. So, we bought these Leapfrog tablets, and Alec, we did a Chromebook to download the school programming so he could see all the games they play in school. The problem is there's a workaround with YouTube. Now, funny enough, he's so sweet that he watches fishing videos and sports highlights. But we have a hard, strict rule because we know it won't always be fishing videos and that. He has to be watching near one of us. So he has to come to the counter and he can pull his Chromebook out and he has to ask for permission if it's not the school game and he has limited time on it.
It's good.
He gets mad at us. Like we hide it from him. We've taken his privileges away where he hasn't used it in weeks. That's the only screen that's handheld they have. The other two don't have it. They can watch TV at designated times because the TV is the least offensive right now. And
11 a.m. to watch The View, I hope.
Never.
No.
But they have their TV time that, again, is pre-selected, and we recognize that holding this line is hard. He goes to friends' houses. He has a friend that has a phone. What we do is we literally drown him with information about and now he's proud of it. So this is Alec I'm talking about. He goes to
How old is Alec now?
Alec is 9.
Wow.
He'll go to a friend's house and he'll come back. We've had 2 different parents call us in the last month. How do you get him? He gets so annoyed when he plays with a friend that wants to stay inside and play a video game. And then he'll come back and he feels very proud that he's observing on his own. Mom, I think they're addicted to their screens. They don't want to go play, and I want to play outside. If you miss that window of kind of, yes, we're all still vulnerable, but if you miss that window where they have not gotten enough life outside, we spent our lives outside.
Yes.
And then we got the phones. So we know the difference. Back to my point. When you've never known the difference, how do you know that life isn't bigger, brighter, and better outside than on that screen?
To be fair, you spent most of your childhood watching The Conjuring.
Well, that was in my 30s, right?
Yes.
Did I do the math? I grew up on that. But so now Alec will say those things, and parents have called and said, how'd you get him off the video games? And I said, we never got him on the video games.
That's great.
So so far it's working with Alec. The one we're concerned about is Caleb, because like every third child, you start to see things earlier. He's more into, they have a Switch now, and they play soccer on it. Max reminds me all the time, don't get caught up on that, because soccer is not some of the games we're talking about. But he likes a video game more than Alec or Sandra. So we know each kid is going to be different. But it's probably going to be the single hardest challenge that we're up against in parenting our children.
So I've evolved on it throughout. So my kids also started with YouTube, although I was more lenient than you. I let them have Amazon Fire tablets and things like that early on, which had like kids controls and things like that.
Do, yeah.
My kids still, even my 14-year-old, no TikTok, no social media, except she does have an Instagram with parental controls that I can see who she's messaging and things like that. Yeah, see? She's so excited that you follow her.
I know.
When you like her stuff, she loves it. But it is something I didn't want them to have phones, but then when they started, especially during COVID, when they weren't able to see people, they started messaging each other.
Yep.
And that became their social lives.
That's a different challenge. You're right.
It was. And then coming out of that, taking it back, there's like a sixth grade text chain where everybody's on it.
Yeah.
And if you're not on it, you're missing the jokes. You're missing the inside stuff. You're missing all these things. And it becomes a social challenge.
But so I have a friend with, again, a little younger than Lily, but older than Alec, a boy. Because in my head, I thought if we can get a son, because boys have different social tendencies with their friends.
They do.
That I think girls are more maybe vulnerable to a lot of these problems. I thought if we could get Alec doing it, being the big brother could ride Sandra into it. Like, this is what we do in our family.
Yeah.
I heard about a little boy text chain where my friend had let her son through their iPad onto this text chain, and what they saw happening on the text chain. And it wasn't all the time, but there was an incident where there was like a bullying. And I said, this is my point. Even when you try to stretch it a little bit, it's just not worth it. I can't find a version. And my kids are going to be so mad. I know this. I know they're going to come at us at some point. They're going to be the weird ones. I'm not giving in. And I've watched it with like my best friend does it, and she has older kids, and she's fought it, and she's told me, I always cheat off her worksheet anyway, but she'll tell me how they went about it. We're going to have a battle, but we've read paragraphs from Jonathan Haidt's book. I'm like, Alec, your brain reasons in logic. Like, let me read what this paragraph says. You tell me what you think when you're done. Do you understand why we're doing this? And he gets it. Now, let's hope that works for Sandra and then Caleb. But I'm just giving him the data and saying, how does that make you feel? What do you, and he gets nervous because we use the term addicted all the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's everything you're saying makes sense to me and is real. It's just really hard.
Well, and again, I do recognize it's easier said than done. So I am not I'm going in like this, and I will have battle wounds, I'm sure.
Yeah. The one thing I have going for me is at this point, I'm more technologically adept than they are.
You're more technical. You're called IT. Your nickname here is we call IT when we can't figure out our watches or phones. So you're right. At least you're ahead of everyone.
Like when I was in high school cutting class, I was the kid who knew how to call the answering machine, delete the messages.
You're like Ferris Bueller.
Well, I wanted to be. But, and my parents had no idea that was even possible, that I could like call away, and so like the
Well, you
attendance
also
people never
changed your
called.
grades on your
Yeah, I
report
did
card.
I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done, but so far my children have not shown those. They take after their mother, and they're straight shooters.
I know
and
she's
they're
innocent.
good.
Thank
Yes.
God for Heather.
Yeah. So, but it is a challenge. It's definitely, and it's scary. I don't like that they're out in the world, but this is what happens.
And we're not going to be able to stop it all. There's going to be bullying. There's going to be all those things. I just don't want a tech algorithm. The world will be hard enough without that algorithm playing to their instincts and tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to keep tabs on it. We're going to come back. We're going to
Check back in 5 years.
check back and see. And eventually we'll have Alec on the show.
Oh, he's so cute.
He is so cute. Thank you for joining me today, Sarah. Tomorrow,
Greg.
I'll be back with Joy on her birthday. It's Joy's birthday tomorrow. The birthday tag sale is happening.
Yes.
Very exciting. And we'll see you then.